evening and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am Luana Bradford with the Bradford Group as well as the Bradford Group Consulting. And I'm so excited to have Marie Fratoni here. How's it going, Marie?
It's going good now that we're up and running.
Yes. Don't you love technology?
It works when it's working.
Yes.
Got it going because we're smart. Thank you.
Well, for those of you that are joining Business and Financial Raw Talk for the very first time, this is a platform designed to help push the envelope as it relates to how we manage our business, how we manage our finances, getting out of those boxes, even the limiting beliefs that we might have, and to bring a new way of looking at the world as it relates to your business and finances so that you, as a woman and as a member of your household, can elevate and expand and make the impact that you desire in the world. And I'm just delighted that we have the CEO of Getting Clients everywhere, right? Getting Clients everywhere. Get Clients everywhere.
Yeah.
Get Clients
That's
everywhere. Right. Marie Fratoni. And I want to tell you a little bit about this amazing woman. She works globally to help professionals build solid, long-term successful businesses. She coaches business owners and professionals to become savvy, social, and successful, and helping individuals understand the art of client relationships. And she makes a difference in the world. She's an advocate for women in business. She's a founding and leading member of several professional groups and has years of experience designed to level up the careers of women and the lives of women in business. And I'm just so excited that you're here. I mean, we met, was it about 5 years ago or so?
Yeah, about that.
Right. Before the world was like totally virtual. We actually met face to face.
Right. We were on a panel together.
Yes, we were. Well, Marie, one of the things that I want to bring up, and this is just fluid, so I want to toss the ball to you. We know how important it is to, if you're in business, having clients. They go hand in hand. However, I found, and I'm just curious what you found in your discussion with women, especially over the last 2 years, there were a lot of shifting and moving, use the term pivoting, but I didn't hear that people were having a lot of conversations with their clients. It was just, oh, this isn't working, so I'm going to quickly shift, but there was no communication going back and forth with the clients. Were they just building and having this field of dreams, hoping people would come, or were they really strategically sensitive and listening to what the clients were saying that they need? And so I want to just toss it to you and get your insight on what you're experiencing, and then what are you telling women today?
Well, it's a really great question, and I think it's been a bit different for a lot of people. We've had to just change the way we do business. I always tell people that I'm a card-carrying extrovert who was stuck at home for 2 years, pretty much. And it was hard, so I got on every single Zoom, every event I could possibly get on, because that people connection, that inspiration that I get from events is very important to me. What I did learn from people in my community is there were some people that just gave up on their business because there was too much other stuff for them to handle and manage in their household. Sometimes it was an ill parent. It could be children at home in school, not really knowing. Some people, the businesses that actually had brick and mortar businesses that people were not visiting. I mean, there were a lot of changes. And I think my coaching, my messaging for my community and my clients is really to really keep on keeping on, and to keep it going, and to do whatever you can do to get that mojo really running. And I think, the first year of the pandemic, my business actually was pretty good because I had a lot of things in place, the right things in place, the right strategies in place to build that. The second year, I allowed myself the peace to just kind of like be and look at what's really important to me. And I think that's the part of pivoting that today many women are doing, is they're looking at what's the best use of my time? Where are my gifts? Where can I bring them? And maybe the things that I was doing before are not so hot anymore, but I need to adjust my course. Like my stand for women prospering is still the same, but how we prosper now might be a little bit different. And it's always good to listen for and listen to what's being said in conversations and also what's being said in the unspoken. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, no, it makes total sense, and I love the depth that you just gave in your response. That our lives are very different because of the pandemic, and we have the sandwiched, generation of women who are taking care of, like you said, elderly parents, their children, and still trying to manage, still trying to find a way to service their clients. But I love what you said that now it's caused us to look at life a little bit differently.
right.
And women are saying, wait a minute, am I really aligned with my passion? Am I really being authentic? Is this really where I envision my life? And needing to make a change that fits with that truth now, right?
I think that, there's a lot of formulas and sort of cookie cutter formulas that have been out there of how to build a business. And I think one of the gifts of this pandemic has been that people have really looked at what makes sense for me. How do I do it? I'm not on every single technology platform there is, but I'm on the ones that make a difference. And I know where, for me, if I'm going out running my business, I know what works for me, like a podcast, like a speaking engagement, like a talk, like me running webinars. That's really a lot of fun for me. And so I can engage and be active. And I would encourage people to find what their joy is in terms of like, what do they like to do? I mean, so many people that I work with, like they hate social media. That's their conversation. They hate it because they don't really understand what it would do for them or maybe how to work it. It's not everything I know about social media, but I look at what really works and so that I can really connect with the people that I want to connect with. And where are my particular clients? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they hanging out? Where are they going? Where are they not going? What events are they attending? How do I really have that conversation? So things are a little bit different. I'm a real live event person. You probably know that about me. And it's been challenging not having as many live events. I know that's a magic formula for Marie. And it's been challenging to try to make a Zoom meeting a live event, like have it be lively, so that people are, awake and alert and they're paying attention and modulations of voices change and gestures can still happen. And I even put on perfume. So it's a different world out there. And I think we all have to really start to look at what is it that we really want to do? What is it that how is it that we can really best serve our clients? And I think it really, people need to really understand who their client is. And just like what we're doing, I mean, there's a zillion people that have had to change the way they do business.
Right.
And some have really been very successful at it, and some have kind of thrown in the towel.
And when you were just taking us on your client journey, it is important to go beyond the traditional avatar, woman
Right.
in this age group, the traditional demographics, but really now understanding the social graphics.
Right.
Like you said, where are they showing up? What are their pain points? The pain points today are very different than 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And then how do you communicate to the client a sense of understanding, a sense of empathy? Because the generation coming behind us, the millennials, the Gen Zs want to know you care, right?
Yes. I mean, it's like, why would you want to do business with somebody that doesn't care? I think that's part of, I was just sharing with one of my clients today. It's just like, yesterday was Valentine's Day. And I don't know, I like the little app Bitmoji. So I love to play around with Bitmoji. I think I must have sent like 30 Bitmoji Valentines on text or on Facebook or whatever to just my communities, my pages, whatever, just wishing everybody a happy Valentine's Day. It's just a touch point. It's a connection because, maybe there's some people that are alone or maybe they're by themselves or they're not with their family or they're not with their kids or they're not with their loved ones or they're not with their clients. They're not running their events. So how can we still just stay connected just because we're great human beings that have big hearts and great compassion and want to see others win? And sometimes it's not like, hi, here's a Valentine, buy my program. It's just, hi, here's a Valentine thinking about you. And
Yes.
that's great.
It is, and it actually makes you stand out and makes you memorable. I often remind my clients that success leaves clues, and we have to remember that the big businesses were once small.
Yeah, that's
They,
very
they
great.
they were small. They were starting in their garage or in their kitchen, but they started off small. And I remember during probably about the midpoint of the pandemic, it was Applebee's, and that commercial just really stuck with me. And I'm not an Applebee's person, but I thought, wow, if I were to have a choice between that type of restaurant, would I go to Applebee's? And the answer is yes. And the reason why, Marie, is their commercial wasn't, hey, come in and enjoy our food. It was, we know where you are. We're getting ready for when you come back. And it
And
was
it's
just
part of the
be safe.
neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, it's really great. You know, I gave a compliment to one of the local restaurants here. They're a Mexican restaurant, really, really great. And during the pandemic, what they did was they sent a newsletter out. They called it Taco Tuesday, and they sent it to all their customers as a way to touch base. And they made these big meals, and they really took care of their staff. And they said, you know, if you come in and you buy a family meal or whatever, think about, you know, actually paying it forward, or, you know, give a little extra to our team because they haven't been working and, you know, their tips have been affected. And they just took care of their own community, not just their work community of the restaurant, but the community at large. That's their customer base. And they offered little pleasants and little jokes in their thing, but their newsletter was Taco Tuesday. And I saw the owner the other day because I went into the restaurant. There were three of us in the restaurant, and the owner served us, and he cooked for us. And he served us. He was the chief cook and bottle washer. But I said to him, I just so appreciated what he did, because he just like hung in there and made his emails relevant to what was happening in the world. And I thought that was really great.
I love that. I know you're wondering, how am I following you? Because I'm watching my phone.
I'm hoping this works, because it's like I'm sitting here and I'm just kind of in this little window here on my iPhone, but I guess it's working. I'm having fun.
It's working. The message is getting out there.
Good.
What do you want to tell women today? Like we said, the way we're doing business is different. The way our customers are making purchasing decisions are very different. And what are some lessons that we can learn from the past, but with the changes today, to better seed our business in a lane of success?
Well, that's another great question, because I mean, what I would say to women is start your business and run your business and align with successful people that are running a business and that have maybe been a little bit beyond you. Um, because I think there's a lot of business out there, I think. And for women that are, I mean, I was reading today about, you know, the great resignation and the great quit, as they call it, you know.
Yes.
Um, there's so many people today that have really, I think they've been really looking at how do they spend their days, how do they spend their life. And I think that because of technology and because there are so many different things that people can do, they can create their own business, and they'll start wherever they start. That'll take them as however long they'll take them. But if they align with the right people, they align with the right companies or product or an idea, and they do the research and they work on themselves, you know, they can do some success compression where they can work to a level of success that really supports them and provides for them and their families. But I think to like what I want to do is encourage people to start, and to start somewhere, because many people get stuck up here in that negative Nelly mindset that says, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm afraid if I don't go out and get a job, it's not going to work. There's a lot of reasons why. They have great reasons to not do it. And I think there are greater reasons to do it. So I would want to inspire people to take a risk, and then align with people that have been there, have done that, and gotten the t-shirts, and can really go out there and really have some fun. Because entrepreneurship, I think it's not for the faint-hearted.
No,
You know,
not at all.
it takes something, but you know, if people really actually worked during the day and did the right things, the right actions, and the right strategies with the right mindset and the right community to pull them along, I think there's amazing things that can happen. I really do.
I so agree with you. And you said something, having that community. And we know as an entrepreneur, depending on the size you are, it can be a very lonely experience if you
Yeah,
work in isolation.
right.
But when you're part of something greater, they may not, may be complementary businesses, may be total opposites, but at least the thing you have in common is you are communing with other entrepreneurs.
I
Right?
think there's such power in community. There's a much greater power in we than there is in I. It takes a lot longer to just keep trying to figure it out by yourself. And I know for me, like people are what pull me forward. That if I don't have people around me, it's really easy to just like watch TV, and not do anything. Because I love watching TV, but I love doing this more. Like what we're doing, having conversations that are juicy, that are uplifting, that are for something, that are creating something that other people might find themselves and go, wow, the two of those women, they are just like really sharp. Listen to that conversation. I mean, there's a lot of us out there, but sometimes we don't know where to tap into them, you know? So we're lucky. We're lucky that we both run communities, lead communities, are part of many different communities,
Yes.
that we get a chance to really learn from and grow with all the way every day.
And I think the other thing is when you're out and about, whether it's virtual or live, is to be intentional and very engaged with the relationships that you're making, because you never know where they may lead. I mean, you and I were sitting on a panel, and we stayed in community. We haven't seen each other physically since that
Right.
panel, but we've stayed in connection with one another since then. And I think that's really brilliant to not say, okay, I've met this person and I'm going to see what I can get from them.
Right.
But how can you show up and be a blessing and be a gift to someone else? I think is very, very rewarding.
Well, right there, what you said is just to me is brilliant. It's like I think when we go to events, whether it's doing this interview like on this platform with you, or if I'm going to a live event, or if I'm going to a Zoom event, or if I'm just having a conversation, maybe it's a strategy session, I always will set my intentions for who am I going to be in the matter of that? What qualities am I going to bring to the party? I can be a contribution. I can be a blessing for someone else. Then what is it that I'm going to do? I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to get to know someone. I'm going to invite them for a virtual coffee, just to get to know them, just to connect. We connect so we can prosper. Prospering without connecting is empty,
Yes.
but it makes when you really connect and you just have friends and you're interested in somebody else's business, not in order to sell them something or not in order to provide them something, but just because you're willing to connect. And people are fascinating. They've got amazing stories of how they've weathered life, not just pandemic times, but just life, or how they got into their business in the first place. uh, there's people, when I share on social media, I lead retreats in Italy. People think I'm a travel agent. They think I sell travel. They don't really know what I do, but they see Italy and they go, oh, she goes to Italy. She must be a travel agent. But if I have conversations with them, then they understand that there's a context for those trips and what it is that I do, in life. And I'll refer them to a travel agent if that's what they're looking for, because I have travel agents in my community. My community makes me rich. My community makes me abundant. My community is what my community looks to me for. It's like, Marie, who do you know that is a good CPA, or, a good leader, or, a good speaker, all the time? And I bet you have that as well.
Exactly. I love what you said about the story. And I don't know if we realize how empowering our story can be to others, whether it's our peers or even to our customers. When our customers understand the experience or the journey, it creates a greater sense of relatability, right?
When I tell people my story in my signature talk, and I coach people in signature talks to really have them get connected. Oh, I mean, my story wasn't pretty. It didn't always look like how it looks here. It didn't always start that way. And there were times when it was just really, really challenging. And when I tell like the intricacies of that story and what had to happen and phone calls that I had to make to get bailed out of life, people are like, wow. And they come up to me all the time and say, I'm making that same phone call. You just told my story. I can relate to that. And then they say to me, are you able to help me get clients everywhere? And I always say, I'm not sure, but we could have a conversation and explore it and see if they have the right ingredients for their business that would really relate to the kinds of things that I do. But the stories of how we got to be where we are, or the stories of the funniest things or the cuckooest things that happened at a networking event, or the time you get on stage and you totally forget how to do stuff, or you hop on a technology thing and you can't figure out how to get it to work. I mean, it's all part of the journey, and you have to embrace it all.
When you said that about the funniest story, I've got to share this with you. So I was doing some consulting work for a major government entity, and I was real excited about the C-suite leaders that I was going to be facilitating the strategy session for. And I was totally suited up, went in, nailed it, felt really good. Came back to my desk with my team. I'm like, wow, this was great. And I felt the energy, like everyone was smiling, and I thought, wow, this is really good. This is actually easier than I thought. And I put my hand on my head, and I was just aghast. Marie, I was wearing a head wrap from the night before that I forgot to take off. So I'm like, that's why everyone was smiling. They're like, look at the poor little fool here. And I asked my team, I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And one of my team members said, well, we thought that was your lucky cap or something.
It's they allow us to be, which doesn't like muddy up the space, so we can just actually be our brilliance. And you know what? People are listening to your brilliance because you know who you are, you know what you do, you know how you do it, and you can bring that brilliance, cap or no cap.
Right? Yes, they were like, wow, she's confident.
It's great. It's a good story. But things like that happen to us all the time, where it's like, you wear the brown shoe and the blue shoe, or, stuff happens, or you miss the bus and miss the plane and you have to do whatever. Or you get in a place where I used to teach classes in corporate America, and it was always technology driven. And many times you would go to these big Fortune companies and their technology didn't work. So they used to laugh at me because I had overhead projector slides as a backup, and I had to use them a lot. So, you just prepare, and if you're being professional, if you're coming to a client with your A game, you're prepared for your A game, you're dressing your A game, you're being your A game, you're operating in your A game, you're going to have some good results. It may not be what you thought it was going to be, but it'll be good. You won't ruin it, and you won't get booted out, you know.
I love that. So, tell us a little bit about your community, and what have you had to do as far as communication and engaging with them to understand if you've needed to shift your program offerings in a different way, or I'm not talking about the in person, but just the overall delivery of what you're providing.
Well, I think one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a different way that we have to communicate now, and we have to connect these days. Many people, they're not hopping on a plane and going to visit their clients, or they're not going to do certain things. They're not, I'm in a big retreat program, and hardly any of the retreats that were happening for 2022, 2021 have happened. I mean, all these big retreat leaders, they canceled them all, so things are different. And so what do they do in response to that? I think one of the pieces that I've done is I created a new community called Connect and Prosper, because I've really noticed over the years, especially for women, we're great at connecting. But many women are not great at prospering because they haven't had the sales training. They're afraid to ask for money. They're afraid to raise their rates. They don't know how to charge properly. There's a lot of things with that. And first of all, they're selling way too early in the process. People are not yet hungry for what it is that they want, or have a taste for what they want. So I think, I've wanted to really put in some things about how do you actually really connect? What are the different ways in which you can connect? So I've created that, like just a complimentary community. It's on Facebook, called Connect and Prosper Community. Come join us. I think now too, it's like really looking at like, what are the ways in which people can just like hop on a call that's a connection call or virtual coffee to like, just like, who are you? Like, what is it that you do? Like, how do you serve people? What's your specialty? Or, who are you, the clients that you're looking for? What's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite restaurant here? If you're in Atlanta, what's your favorite restaurant in Atlanta? Hey, let's go. Let's go sometime. I personally try to go out at least once or twice a week and go to lunch with somebody, one person, sit outside if I can, and just enjoy their physical company, because I know that's important to my own growth and my own energy. And sometimes it's like I'll hop on the phone with somebody that is in a different state, a different country sometimes, and just hop on Zoom. And it's like, we'll literally have coffee, or we'll have a glass of wine, or we'll, have, here's the seltzer with lemon, the super duper lemon. And we just play and just kind of create some energy, because we've got to add that to, who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? What do we got to like add some life to it and get our vibrations up, because vibrations are important. That positivity is something that's going to communicate regardless of what that situation is out there in the world. We're not in control of all the external circumstances that are happening for people in life, but we are responsible and accountable for our own energy and what we bring to the party. And I've had some little low times this year, where I just felt like, who cares? What am I doing? Do I really care? I mean, it's like I'm getting older. Who's going to buy an older coach? All these questions. And then I don't know what it was, but there's something that unleashed, and all of a sudden, I feel like I'm back in my body, and I'm like, my productivity is like skyrocketed, and I have time to just like enjoy life. I try to really
Right.
have that balance if possible. But I think it's important for people to, first of all, want to connect. And I think many people have experienced the fact that it's difficult, or there's a lot to deal with in life. So being disconnected is somewhat of a saving grace for them, seemingly. I'm not sure that it really is, but to really want to connect and intend to connect. And there's lots of ways to do that.
I love that. Marie, can you believe we're almost out of time?
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, I'm going to give you the stage to share last tips and strategies with our audience, and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, if I were going to make, any kind of offers, I would just invite you to connect with me. You can go to getclientseverywhere.com. You can send me a message. You can find me on Facebook. You can request a conversation with me. It can be just a who are you conversation. It doesn't have to be a sales conversation. If you've got something that's a great opportunity to speak or to train or to sponsor, I love that. In Atlanta, I lead the Women's Professional Development Network, as we affectionately call it, WPDN. We just had our 12th birthday, and I'm very proud to say I've been leading women's professional networks for 40 years. 30 of them were in Massachusetts, where I'm originally from. But here we've been, we meet at the Capitol Grill in Atlanta. We've got some people from out of town that are our members. And the other thing that I was going to say is that on Facebook, there is a free community. And if you're a women entrepreneur, you are welcome to join us. It's called the Connect and Prosper Community. You can find it, send a request, or shoot me a message, and I'll send you an invite to that list, because we're going to do some training. We'll do some guests. We'll do some things like we're doing here on that, where we can actually spend time connecting so that we can prosper. Connecting and prosper is important. Women often forget about the prosper part. And we forget about it for ourselves, and we forget about it because the world has forgotten about us in that realm of prosperity. So we need to really raise that. And then, of course, if people are looking for a great little getaway, a great vacation for professional people, can be men and women. But I take people to Italy every year, except for the pandemic. But we're going back to Tuscany in September. And it's called Living La Dolce Vita. And if you want to hear more about it, or think, I'd love to go to Tuscany, I don't want to go by myself, I want it all done for me, I just want to unpack my bags and receive, then that's a good trip for you. So let's explore and see if that's right for you. You're all welcome to just connect up with me and just say hi, share your story, share what you're up to. I love having conversations. Conversations are my jam. So I appreciate, Luana, your invitation, and, just sharing resources and things that are important to us, because we have way more in common, and we can really make a difference with a lot of people.
Yes, thank you so much, Marie. This has been great. Great tips. I encourage everyone, reach out, get to know this amazing woman. I know my life has been made richer because of it. You can find her on all things social media. She is very active on social media. Follow her on her website, getclientseverywhere.com, and join Connect and Prosper Community.
Sounds
So,
great. Thank you so much. Let's connect.
Let's connect. And to those of you, we just want to remind you that remember that when your life, your vision for your life intersect with opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next week, we'll see you. Stay safe.
It's wonderful. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks, Luana. You're the
Thank you.
best.